Welcome to LiveDaf, your online Daf Yomi shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, Maseches Avodah Zarah Daf Chaf Vav. We are holding out the Mishnah, which is 11 lines off the top of the Amud. Says the Mishnah, Bas Yisrael, a Yiddish woman, Lo tiyalid es ha'ivedes kechavim. She should not assist in the birthing of a Goyish woman, because she's assisting in the birth of a new idol worshipper. So she's not meant to lend a hand to that. But aval, a Goyish woman, she could help a Yiddish woman do that. And we're not concerned that she'll harm the newborn child, as we're going to see in the Gemara. Likewise, regarding nursing, Bas Yisrael leitonik, b'no shelavedes kechavim. A Yiddish woman should not serve as a nursemaid, should not nurse a newborn guy, for the same reason as the previous halacha. Aval levedes kechavim, ma'nika b'no shel Yisrael. But you can have a Goyish woman nursing a Yiddish newborn, b'rishusa, if it's in the Rishus, meaning if it's in the presence of the Yiddish woman, she's on the watch, which eliminates any concern of safety issues. Tanur Rabbanan. So we learned in a brayso, Bas Yisrael, a Yiddish woman, she should not help a Goyish woman in the birthing process. Why? Because she's helping bring about a new idol worshipper. Oh, here in the Brayso we have a different shita than the Mishnah. Here we don't allow a Goyish woman to serve as a midwife for a Yiddish woman, because it's imperiling the newborn. They are suspected of shvichus damim, and that endangers the newborn. So according to Rameir, we can't allow a Goyish woman to serve as a midwife. The Chacham, they disagree. It all depends on the circumstance. It depends if there are others around, if we're under surveillance, which would preempt any concern of foul play. The Chacham, a Goyish midwife, she can help a Yiddish woman. When we have others standing around and looking out to ensure that everything is done in order. But not in private for concern of the child's safety. That's the Chacham Shita. So in private, of course not. But when we're under watch, that serves as a deterrent to preempt any concerns of foul play. Rameir disagrees. He says in all situations, we don't allow it to serve as a midwife for a Yiddish newborn. If you have other people standing there, Namiloi, you shouldn't be allowing her to do that. Why? Because she could perhaps harm the child in a way that nobody will notice. The zimnan deman yada. It could happen that she'll squeeze her hand, aputa, on his upper forehead, meaning the soft spot on the front of the child's head, and kill him that way. And it won't be noticed. She'll do it discreetly. So you're imperiling the newborn by allowing the Goyish midwife to be involved. As we find in the following story, like this woman, the Amel Chaverta, who turns to her friend, two Goyish women speaking to each other, and she insults her. She says, you're a Jewish midwife, you helped the Yidden give birth. Moldo Yudayasa, Bas Moldo Yudayasa, you're a midwife who helps the Yidden give birth, a daughter of a woman who does the same. Who did the same. So she was pretty much belittling her, she was mocking her. And the Goyish woman, in her defense, issued a very startling statement. Amrullah, she tells her adversary, what are you cursing me for? Nefishin bishta, if anything, the tragedies that should befall you should be so many, like the amount of kids, newborns, that I killed. Yiddish newborns. Destroyed from them. Dama, I spill their blood. Ki ufyu denar, like the foam on the river. So don't stop putting me down. I'm, if anything, just the opposite. No, so you see that there is that danger inherent in having a goyish midwife involved. For Rabbanan, they respond, no, she was just blowing hot air. Amrlach, they say, loihi, no, not exactly so, but Musa ba'alma, it's just exaggerated fluff, hudo kimta, that she employed in her defense to put her antagonist in her place, but it wasn't real. It wasn't a true reflection of any crimes that she committed. So bottom line is, in private you can't trust the Goyish midwife, but in public, Rabbanan say it's okay, and even there Rameir says, keep away. Bas Yisrael leitanik. What about nursing? Tana Rabbanan, same machlekes. Bas Yisrael leitanik b'no. Shulavedes kechavim. So a Yiddish woman should not be nursing the Goyish child, because she is contributing to the development of a child who's going to be a Avodah Zarah. Likewise, you shouldn't allow a Avodah nurse to nurse a Yiddish newborn because we're concerned about the child's safety. So once again, Rameir says blank check, no involvement at all. Well, it depends. In private, you can't trust her, but in public, it's okay. When you have others standing around, then you're okay because she's fearful of playing any games. No, but not in private. So according to Rabbanan, it depends on the circumstance. If there's a presence of other people, then it's okay. By the way, Taisus brings and the Mefarshim bring that it's not necessarily something we're meant to do. So he says it's not halachically forbidden, but the Mefarshim bring the Rashba brings that it's not something you're meant to do because the newborn will actually absorb. He calls it mekabeles teva ha'isha haminika idei hachalav. There's a concern that the newborn will absorb the personality, the characteristics of the woman who's nursing him, and therefore he says it's midas chasidasu sheyinak dafkin bas Yisrael. It's certainly appropriate that he should be nursing from a Yiddish woman, shetiv atoiv, whose nature is of upstanding value, v'chelba megadol tevak yitzaba, and her milk will help him develop likewise, as opposed to taking from a nachris shetiv ara, lest he be affected by her personality, her essence. We find by Moshe Rabbeinu, right? He refused to nurse from anybody except for the mother, his mother, a Jewish woman. It's brought down in halacha, by the way. I think the Shach brings it that it's it should be avoided. Okay, in any case, but in terms of imperiling the newborn's life, imperiling his safety, that's it's not an issue when we have others standing around, which puts a deterrent in her way. But Rameir says no. Even you have a whole crowd watching, you still shouldn't have the Goyish woman nurse the newborn. Why? The zimna the shaifa le sama. She can smear a bit of poison, ladad, on herself. Me'avroi. Outside the room, without anybody watching. V'katalei, and that will result in the child's death. Okay, so bottom line is we have two separate discussions, but really, it's rooted in the same equation. Allowing a guy to birth the child, allowing a guy to nurse the child. Rabbanan say, well, in private not, for safety concerns, whereas in public it's okay. Rameir says in both cases, right? Private or public, it's not allowed for concern of imperiling the child. Now, why do we have to discuss both cases? Isn't it just a redundancy? With tzricha, there's a lesson inherent in each one. Each one has a chiddush. And therefore, both are important to discuss. The Ashmina Miyalez, we only discuss the case of the midwife. Bahi, Kamin Rabban, perhaps it's only there that the Rabbanon say the shari that it's okay when we are under watch. The Le'efshar, because it's unlikely for the midwife to endanger the child because she's under surveillance. Because there are others watching her. Aval menika. But in terms of nursing, that could be done discreetly. The efshar, the shayfa le'sam l'dad me'avroi. Although in this room we have people, so as she's nursing, she's under watch, but perhaps she prepared that poison upon herself before she entered the room. Mi'avroi, outside v'katlan, she'll kill the child. So perhaps this poses a real danger concern. Eima moidile Rab Meir. Perhaps Rabbanan would agree to Rab Meir, avoid it, and that's why we have to say that even in this case, Rabbanan allow it. It's unlikely that she would have done that, right? Because she's fearful to play games. V'yashmina menika. On the other hand, had we only discussed the case of the nursing mother, Bahikam Rab Meir, perhaps it's only there Rab Meir says, keep away. In all circumstances, Mishdo Asr, it's not allowed. Mishum de Shaifale Sam Ladab Navroi, because of this concern, the Shmeir applied some prior to entering the room. Aval Miyaledes, but by the midwife, the Leyevshar, where it's not possible for her to do anything when she's under watch. So perhaps over there, he would agree to Rabbanan. That it's okay. That's why we discuss both cases to highlight both shittos. So whether it's midwiving or nursing, Rabbi says never, and Rabbanan allow if it's being done in public. Here comes a kash. V'raminu. We have a kasha from our Bryce. So the Mishnah says that a Bas Yisrael, okay, now we're going to focus on Bas Yisrael, not meant to serve as a midwife for a guy. Why? Mishnah says because Shemiyaledes Bain Lavoida Askecha. However, in this Bryce coming up, it seems that it's okay. V'raminu. Yehudis Miyaledes, right, a Yiddish woman, can serve as a midwife. She's getting paid for the job, but not. She's doing it as a volunteer. Apparently, she's getting paid. It's okay. I'm Rav Yosef. B'schar shari. You know why? It's different when she's getting paid because she can't wiggle out of the job. She can't excuse herself. Look, you're getting paid. If it's being done b'chinam, she could say, "Look, I'm busy today. I have no time to volunteer." But if it's b'schar shari, then it's okay, mishum eva, because it's going to trigger animosity. And it could jeopardize our relationship with the goyim and cause sakana. Look, we're not going to treat them. They're not going to treat, right? Amalei Abai. Sorry. So that's the het. B'schar shor mishum eva. Savar Rav Yosef l'meir. So Rav Yosef figured to take it a step further. Just like you can serve as a midwife during the weekdays to avoid animosity, to maintain our cordial relationship with the goyim. So likewise, there's a need for a Yiddish woman to serve as a midwife for a Goyish woman even on Shabbos. If it's bischar, it's shari. It's allowed for that same reason, mishum eva, because otherwise it can trigger a negative reaction and can bring us to sakana if we fail to treat them. Abai responded to Rav Yosef, no, not so quick. Although during the weekday you are compelled because of the Eva concern, but on Shabbos we can plainly excuse ourselves with religious reasons. We could say, look, she can explain to the Goyim, she could tell the woman, our newborns, our people who keep the Shabbos, michalin alayu. So although it's technically a desecration of Shabbos, but it's allowed. It's like sort of an investment, right? So our religion allows for Shabbos observers to be treated on Shabbos, even though it's at the expense of Shabbos. Right? It's like a package deal. So it justifies itself. But unfortunately, those who don't observe Shabbos we're not allowed to treat them on Shabbos because it is deemed a desecration of Shabbos. Sorry, nothing personal against you. It's our religion. Shabbos compels us to withhold treatment. Didchu yours, the limit to the Shabbat, who don't keep Shabbos. Loi, Mechalina, we can't work on Shabbos on your behalf. That's a way to get out of it without causing discontent. Continues the Gemara. What about nursing the Goyish baby? If it's a professional nursemaid getting paid, is it allowed for concern of Ava? Savar of Yisrael. So Risa figured, yeah. Anuki b'schar shari, to nurse a Goyish newborn for pay, is also permitted, shari, for that same reason, Mishum Ava, to avoid any Ava, animosity. Amarli Abai responded, once again, there's an easy excuse to get out of it, in which case it's not justified. So in terms of nursing, it's a very personal thing. So the nursemaid could say, look, I'm not up to it now. If she's an unmarried single woman, she could say, look, right now in Shidduchim, in Suvei, I want to get married, and this type of activity will taint my reputation, and sorry, I can't do it. If she's a married woman, she could say, look, loikam is dahamna, gavroi, I don't want to lower myself and degrade myself in front of men, in front of my husband. Basically, it's not something I want to do right now. So there's an easy way to get out of it. In which case, it's not permitted. There's no heter. Savar Rav Yisrael Meimer. Once again, Rav Yosef figured to propose something regarding another brayso. Hadasani. We have a brayso. So the idol worshippers, and those who run around with the behemadaka, the goats, the sheep, the sort of light animals, and graze all over the place. Notwithstanding, property ownership, they're just all over the place and stealing from people's loy malin v'limeridin. Although we don't toss them into a pit, meaning we don't actively initiate, an attack against them, but loy malin, if they're to be found in danger down a pit, we don't make the effort to salvage, to save them. So that's the standard halacha. Rav Yosef figured asuki b'schar shari mishum eva. If the fellow is offering payment, right? Asuki, so to bring him out, to rescue him, b'schar, for pay, that's okay. Shari mishum eva, for that same reason, because otherwise you're going to trigger an animosity. You're going to muddy our relationship with the goyim, because you have no excuse for withholding your assistance if you're getting paid. Amarli Abaye, once again Abaye says, no. There's always an excuse to circumvent this. You can just turn and tell him, look, sorry, I'm busy, I gotta run. My son is waiting on the roof, he's about to fall off the roof, I gotta run and get him. Sorry. I have an appointment by the governor, I gotta run, and I'm gonna lose more than I gain from you, so that's a good excuse to withhold help. Tani Rabbi Yavo Kamed Rabbi Yechon. So Rabbi Yavo presented a brayso to Rabbi Yechon, which says like this: right, the individuals that we alluded to a minute ago, loy malin, right? So there we just leave it status quo. We don't initiate, nor do we try to save them. Aval haminin, those who are sort of missionaries, religious priests, and trying to, ensnare us. V'masoros, or even Yidden who are informers. V'amumrim, those who seriously deviated from the Torah path. Moiridin, in these cases we actually put them down there. V'loy mal, and we don't take them back up. By the way, the Chazon Ish explains that this halacha is not really relevant nowadays. He says, aside from other factors, it was when the delineation between Tov and Ra, between good and bad, was so clearly visible. When people on a whole were sort of on a good track. So we have a couple of deviators who are sort of encroaching and threatening the goodness of the population. So then the halachas apply. But when these various phenomena became so common and prevalent, So he says, there's no point. We're going to go kill everybody, right? So it's not really negaya, it's not really relevant when the world is awash with this type of phenomenon. In any case, but the Brisa does state it as an halacha. Minin, Mesoiris, and Murman, Meridin, V'leimal. Amalei. So Rabbi Yochanan, upon hearing this Brisa, where the mumar is meant to be shoved into the pit, he says, Ani shoyne l'chol avedas achicha. I have a drasha, a Brisa, that regarding Hashavas Aveda. L'chol avedas achicha. You meant to return all your brethren, all your avedas, all your lost items belonging to your brethren. L'rabes is a mumar. L'chol is coming to include, right? Even a mumar, even a fellow who's not on the right, not adhering to the Torah properly. So return his item, return his lost cow. And you're telling me you meant to throw the owner into the pit. I mean, Vat Amras Maridin. If that were so, then why would you be obligated? If you can kill the owner, how could you be obligated to return a lost item to him, right? Okay, Sami Mikan Mumar. So Rabbi Yochanan says we have to delete the last fellow, the Mumar. He doesn't belong on the list. The halacha doesn't apply to him, only to the other ones. L'shana leiv. Why can't you just say, look, answer your question? There are different types of mumars. Kan b'mumar oichel nevelas l'ti'aven. If you have a mumar who's just unfortunately drawn to illicit behavior, who eats non-kosher food l'ti'aven, to satisfy his impulses. Okay, it's bad enough, but not as bad as a fellow who's kan, the other fellow is b'mumar oichel nevelas l'hach, is eating nevela, he's eating non-kosher food despite, just because, to express his, dissatisfaction, his opposition to our way of life. That's way worse, right? So perhaps that would explain your apparent contradiction. A fellow who's merely doing it for personal preferences, he's still somewhat connected to religion, he still somewhat adheres, he's just being drawn because of his temptations. It's not an ideological position that he's taking, right? So in that case, he's still considered in the fold somewhat, and you're obligated to look after him and his items, as opposed to the other fellow who's ideologically opposing the way of the Torah, threatening Yiddishkeit. He's in a different boat. And by him we say Moiridim. The answer is Kasavar, because Rabbi Yochanan, Rabavo. Why did Rabavo answer this question to respond with this distinction to Rabbi Yochanan's question? The answer is because he holds Kasavar, he held that Oichel Nevelas Lahachis, if a fellow is deviating purposely, in spite, minhu, he's regarded as a min. He's so connected to the opposing religions, and he would be labeled as a min. And a min is the other guy in the Brisa, right? We had minin, misoiros. So minin covers this type of mumar in spite as well. And apparently the third fellow in the Brisa, mumar, is not going to be speaking about this fellow. Rather, we're speaking about a person who's being drawn after temptation because of his te'avai. And still the Brisa seems to put him in the same boat, moiridin, which triggered Rabbi Yochanan's kasha. Why would we be chayiv to return Aveda? So we got stuck. We have to delete mumar from that original list. Itmar. Okay, so on this topic of a mumar, Pligibar of Achav Ravina, we have this machlekes, this definition machlekes between Rav Achav and Ravina. Chadamar 1 explains, Litzi Oven mumar. If a fellow is non-compliant because of personal impulses, so he gets the label mumar. So let's say he writes a sefer Torah, you don't have to burn it. He doesn't have the status of a min. But if he does it lahachis, in spite, then he's downgraded to a min havi. In which case, if he writes a sefer Torah, you have to burn it, because he is apparently totally disconnected and lost in the world of Avodah Zarah, of other religions. In which case, it's a more serious type of situation. V'chad Omar, the other one disagrees. He says, no, afilu lahachas nami mumar. Even if he's doing it in spite, nevertheless, he's still called a mumar. Doesn't have the same severity as a min. Ela ezehu min. So what is a min? Zeha oived Avodah Zarah, one who actually is worshipping Avodah Zarah. Meisveh, here comes a kasha. Achal parash echad, or yutush echad. Fellow sits down to have an insect, parash echad, or a yutush, a mosquito, not something that typically a person would eat out of temptation, right? He's doing it lahachas, out of spite. Harez a mumar, he's called a mumar. Asks the Gemara, "V'hachal lahachasu." This fellow is certainly doing it, or we assume he's doing it lahachis, out of spite. Uktani mumar, and still he's called a mumar. This is a kasha on the opinion cited earlier that when it's done in spite, he's relegated to the status of a min. Answers the Gemara, who says he's doing it in spite? How do you know what's going through his mind? Hasam boy limitam. He's just trying to have a taste of something which is forbidden. Okay, he's drawn after. He's excited. He's enticed by something which is forbidden. Boy limitam tamadi is surah. So he still falls under the category of lite avain. He's deviating due to temptation, in which case he certainly can still be regarded as a mumar and not a min. Amamar. Let's go back and review. We said that the minin, the mesairais, right? Moiridin of leimalan, so we drop them down and we don't rescue them. Meridin of leimalan. Now, isn't that a redundancy? I mean, if you're going to throw them in there, if you're going to initiate, certainly you're not going to save them. Certainly, if we trip them in there, is there any need to tell us that you don't pull them out? I mean, it's obvious. The second half of that statement is speaking. It's not only do you throw them in, but as Taisus points out, suppose our governance position doesn't allow us. We're not in control of what's going on out there, and we don't have the authority to actually initiate. Nevertheless, if he encounters one of these individuals, one of these troublemakers, by the way, the Rishonim explained that the Roye Behimadaka, what's so terrible? I mean, he's grazing his animals, stealing some grass. He says it was such a, apparently it was such a common concern. And the Chachamim wanted to really put their foot down. They enacted a decree that, right, you're not meant to raise these animals in a Malkam Yishuv, right, in inhabited areas, rather out in the wilderness only. So in order to sort of maintain that that halacha, that chiyuv to protect property, they made this very severe. They attributed this very severe penalty, right? They applied this very severe einish to the roya behimadak. Okay, in any case, so he's down there. Says the Brisa, you can't help them out. Okay, but obviously, if theoretically, if it was possible for us to actually initiate, throw them in, we would. So certainly, if you, even if you can't initiate and you find them down there, you shouldn't bring them out. Says the Gemara, in Israel was speaking that you're not actually saving them. There's no question that you're not supposed to. But let's say Shem Hoysam Malvabar, there was a step to get out of the, some steps, right, to climb out of the deep pit. Megarra, you can actually remove the steps, which will force him to stay in there. How do you do that without endangering yourself, in the eyes of the Goyim, etc.? The Nokala Ila, you come up with an excuse and you say, V'amar. He says, Lo teichus chiyus aliyah. I don't want my animal to climb down through the steps and end up, in the pit. So as long as you have sufficient alibi to cover your actions, you're meant to do so. In order to keep the troublemaker, deep below. Rav Yistam Tabayu, they both have a different scenario, but a different way to explain the Brisa. When the Brisa says Loi Malan, we're speaking Lenisruch, we're speaking Shem Hoyse Evan Al Piha Boyer. There was a big rock there at the mouth of the pit. Mechasa, you can take the rock and just the manhole and cover the pit. By way of an excuse, Amar will say, I'm just trying to, bring my animals around over the pit. I don't want them falling in. So this is just to protect my animals. In this way, it serves as an excuse and then he just forgets about the troublemaker inside. Ravina Amar, he says, we're speaking Shemaya Sulam. So even if there's a ladder there, Misalking, just pick it up and run with it. Why? Amar, he says, look, I'm an emergency, but I got my son up on the Igra, up on the roof, got to help him down. So as long as he has some sort of cover, story, right? So he's meant to do that in order to keep these troublemakers out of the way. Tana Rabban. What about a bris milah? Can you have a yid? Can you have a guy do it for a yid? Or a yid for a guy? Tana Rabban Yisrael mal. Esa evet kecham l'shem ger. A yiddish mayel can do milah on a guyish, a newborn, if the intention is for gerus, in preparation for conversion. Lafuki, as opposed to for medical, purposes. L'shum murana. Murana is some sort of a parasite, some sort of medical reason that the guy would like a bris milah. The law, you can't do that for him. Why? Rashi says we could not allow to. B'merapi a guy bechinam, as we said earlier. So you can't offer that type of medical assistance to the Avodah Zarah. What about having a goyish mayhel for a Yiddish child? Yisrael, you can't be. You can't do milah on Yisrael for that same reason, because you're imperiling the child's safety. Because you might kill him as he's doing so. Once again, Chacham disagree. They say it depends if it's in private or in public. So a guy could do milah on Yisrael when there are others around watching, which will prevent any foul play. But in private not. Rabbi says no, even in public. There's always that concern that he might slay his hand and cut more than he's supposed to, and severely injure and perhaps sterilize the child. Even if there are others standing, normally she can't trust him with the milah. The zimun, because it could so happen. There's matli sakin, he'll slide his hand, make him a krushavcha by cutting too deep, too far in the area. Okay, so just as we had by the midwife, by the nursing, the same issue by milah. Rabbanan say, look, in private don't trust the guy, but in public it's okay. Rameir says, never. Asks the Gemara of a Savra Rav Meir, you mean to say Rav Meir doesn't allow a guy to do milah on a Yiddish child forever, ever? We have a kasha from a Bryce where it seems otherwise. So this fellow stuck out of town in a city where there's no Yiddish mayel. What does he do? Comes the 8th day, what does he do? You don't have a Yiddish doctor who can do the milah. You have other options available. You have a kusi. Now, Kusi was somewhat of a controversial type of individual. On the one hand, they were officially Geirim, but they didn't really adhere to Torah Shabbat Peh. They apparently did observe the mitzvah of Milah, but as Rashi says, well, they had other things in mind. It turns out that ultimately it was discovered that on Har Gerizim, which is their camp over there, they discovered a form of a yain of a dove, which served as their idol. So it's pretty clear that they have other things in mind, and even if they did a milah on their child, it was saturated with inferior motives and intentions of Avodah Zarah. So which way should you go? You're between a rock and a hard place, right? Is it going to be the kusi, Reifa kusi, or Reifa Abid Kicham or a guy? So which one do you prefer? Says Rameir, take the guy, better than the kusi, because he's just going to take you places you don't want to go. He's going to take you to Avodah Zarah. His machshava is for Avodah Zarah, right? Yimol Abid Kichavim, rather have the guy do the milah, va'al yimol kusi, rather than the kusi, because his intention is for Avodah Zarah. The Rameir. So right away you see, Rameir allows a guy to do milah under certain circumstances. Rabbi Daimer says, no, I wouldn't trust a guy. Yimol kusi, prefer the kusi over the guy of al yimol Abid Kichavim. So it's a straight out contradiction. Eifach. Clearly we have to switch the names around to align it with Rameir's opinion stated earlier. Rabbi Omer take the kusi rather than the guy for safety concerns, right? Rabbi Omer yimal kusi v'lo yavid gechavim. Rabbi Omer, as long as there are people around, yavid gechavim is better than a kusi who has the wrong intentions. V'lo kusi. Okay, so far so good. Here comes a problem. You're telling me, according to Rabbi Yehuda, you can allow a guy to do milah? Okay, there's no safety concerns, there are people around, but as we're going to see in the coming brisa, Rabbi Yehuda disallows a guy to do milah for religious reasons. He's not qualified. Only a yid can do a bris milah. Just the way it is. So Rabbi Yehuda allow a guy to do milah? You have a brisa. How do we know that a guy cannot do bris milah for a yid? Shenamar, the pasuk says, "Va'ata es brisi sishma." Hashem is instructing Avraham Avinu and his descendants. Only you carry out this mitzvah. Only you can actually implement a bris. It's now really stuck. Okay, says the Gemara, you're right. Let's go back and reverse the reversal. Okay, so in terms of that choice between a kusi or a goy, Rabbi Yehuda will say, take the kusi, but not the goy who's not qualified to do a bris milah on a yid. Whereas Rameir says, the goy is okay. He holds that this pasuk is not disallowing a goy from doing a bris. The pasuk is simply saying that yidden typically have the bris. We're, bound by this covenant. The goy does no bris, but he can do it for the sake of a yid. Rather than the kusi, who's going to do it with the wrong intentions, and therefore take the guy instead. Okay, but now, as to your question, the original question, what about endangering the well-being of the child? According to Rav Meir, we never trust the guy with these types of operations. And here he's allowing a guy to do a bris milah? The answer is, we're speaking about a professional doctor who has his reputation on the line. He is not going to jeopardize his career and play games. And that's why it's allowed. In this price that we're speaking, he's a professional doctor. Rashi says, Tosfos says actually, doesn't mean that he has to be a professional mayal. It just means to say, as a person, he's a professional, he's a career man, he's not going to play games. As we have a quote from Rabbi Yochanan, this is an exception. This is an exception. If he was a known professional, it's okay. Asks the Gemara, okay, now let's dwell on another point. In terms of that choice between the goy option or the kusi option, Rabbi Yehuda says, take the kusi option, because the goy is not qualified to do a bris. As per that pasuk, va'ata es brisi sishma. V'sava Rabbi Yehuda kusi shapridami. Do you mean to say Rabbi Yehuda allows a kusi to do a bris? What about his inferior motives? V'atanya, we have a brisa where Rabbi Yehuda disallows a kusi because of his ill intentions. V'atanya, Yisrael molas akusi. A Yisrael could do milah on a kusi, no problem. But the kusi, lo yimal Yisrael. You shouldn't allow kusi to do milah on Yisrael. You know why? Because his milah is being done with inferior motives. L'shem hagrizim, for the Avodah Zarah that he has up on top of hagrizim. Who's speaking? The Rabbi Yehuda. So Rabbi Yehuda in the previous price allow a kusi to execute a bris. Let's first finish the brisa. So that's Rabbi Yehuda's shita. Lishma, the intention plays a critical role. In which case we disallow a kusi. Rabbi says, since when are we concerned about what's going on in the mind of the Mayhel? A carbon has to be done with the proper intention, but Milah, as long as he does it properly. Intentions are not really important. Ella, rather, says Rabbi Yossi, let him do his job, let him keep on going, do as many bris milas as he wants until he passes out. Ella mol v'hoilech ashetesi nishmas, until he passes out. It's just a derogatory reference to the kusim, who were known troublemakers. In any case, Rabbi Yossi is the one who allows a kusi, but not Rabbi Yehuda. So how could Rabbi Yehuda allow a kusi in the previous brisa? And this was due to the fact that we did not want to switch the names there. We kept it as stated. Rabbi Yehuda prefers a kusi, and here he says a kusi is not qualified. El loilam eifach. Says the Gemara, you know what? Let's go back to the original suggestion. We will reverse the names in that previous brisa. As we had reversed, initially, as we had suggested initially. In which case, when faced with two options, goy or kusi, Rameir says, take the kusi and don't trust the guy for concern of the child's safety, which is consistent with Rameir's shita all along, right? That works. Whereas Rabbi Yehuda says, take the guy better than the kusi, who's not qualified, who's not certified because of his illicit intentions. Okay, so far so good. But hold it. Now we're going to get entangled further, because here he's saying Rabbi Yehuda prefers a guy to do a bris milah, whereas in the next brisa there we had Rabbi Yehuda Aimer. No, a guy is off limits because of the pasuk Va'ata es brisis shishmar. He's not qualified to do a bris milah. Uduk Kashi says the Gemara, now you have a contradiction between the Rabbi Yehuda in the previous brisa which allows a guy, the Rabbi Yehuda in the subsequent brisa which disallows a guy. The answer is two different people with the name Rabbi Yehuda. The earlier brisa was plain Rabbi Yehuda, whereas the next brisa, Hahi Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, it's different Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, the composer of the Mishnayos. He's the one that holds that a guy cannot implement a bris. Hahi Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, the son of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, Aimer Menayin Lamila Beit Kacham Shipsla. How do we know that a guy can't be a mayel? Tamalaymer Va'atas Bisis Shishmar. There you go. Now, one more point regarding the disallowing of a kusi because of his lack of proper intention. Amar of Chizda Ma'atamid Rabbi Yehuda. So why does Rabbi Yehuda disallow a kusi? How do we know that lishma, intention, plays a critical role in the execution of the bris milah? T'chsiv l'Hashem Himal. This is a pasuk in Bereshis, in Shmos Yud Beis. Va'asa Pesach l'Hashem Himal loikol zachar. So Rabbi Yehuda learns that the word L'Hashem also connects to the word Himal. So the milah has to be done l'shem Hashem at the proper focus, the proper perspective. L'Hashem Himal. And that disallows a kusi. Rabbi Yossi says Himal. The pasuk in Bereshis, actually, Bereshis Yud Gimel, Yud Zayin says Himal Yilud Beischa. So Himal is a redundancy, it's an extra lashon to tell you that, guess what? Even if his mind isn't totally focused in the right direction, he can also implement a bris milah. Now, what does Rabbi Yossi do with Rabbi Yehuda's pasuk? L'Hashem Himal, which indicates that the milah has to be done l'shem Hashem strictly. Hu Pesach siv. No, says Rabbi Yossi. The word L'Hashem goes back to the previous word Pesach. For us, a Pesach L'Hashem. Yeah, the Pesach has to be done l'Hashem. But then it's like a comma, and then it starts again. Himal kol zachar. So the bris milah is unconnected to the word L'Hashem. Even a kusi is kosher. On the other hand, what does Rabbi Yehuda do with Rabbi Yossi's pasuk of Himal, which seems to cover, other types of circumstances, to allow even a kusi? V'idach nam yoksiv Himal. The answer is sometimes the Torah speaks in sort of a poetic, accentuating way. Dibra Torah kloshim le'adam. Sometimes the Torah converses, in a way similar to the way people converse, repeating things for emphasis, etc. But certainly a kusi is not qualified. Okay, let's try to summarize today's daf. Okay, can a yid assist a guy in terms of birthing? So if it's bichinam, no. Bischar, yes, mishum eva. But on Shabbos, there's an easy excuse, and therefore it's not allowed. What about to nurse the guy's child? That's usher under all circumstances. What about to do bris milah? It's only mutter if it's part of the gerus process. What about to benefit from a goyish midwife? Rameir says no under all circumstances. Rabbanan say if it's in public, it's okay, because that would ensure the child's safety. What about to allow a Yiddish child to nurse from a guy? Rameir says no, again for safety concerns. Rabbanan say barabim it's mutter. What about to get a bris milah from a guy? So again, in private it's usher for concerns of pikuach nefesh. If it's in public, Rameir says it's still not acceptable, because although he can't actually kill, but krus shavcha can severely harm the child. According to Rabbanan, if it's in public, it's okay. But according to Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, we have the pasuk of Atas Brisis Ishmar, which disqualifies a guy from doing a bris milah on a yid. What about a kusi? He was doing it properly, but his kavanah is elsewhere. Rabbi Yisrael says it's okay. You don't need lishma by bris milah. Rabbi Yisrael says l'Hashem himal. Tells us that it has to be done l'shem Hashem as opposed to l'shem Avodah Zarah, which disqualifies a kusi. And in a way, it's interesting. He's worse than a guy in this respect, as Rashi explained, because the kusi has an agenda. He's doing it l'shem Avodah Zarah because that was their practice. They would do milah on their children, l'shem Avodah Zarah. But a guy is totally not on the track of milah. So if he's doing it for your sake, right? Rashi says, "Adaita di Yisrael." I'm just following instructions. Yisrael says do milah, he doesn't milah. Whatever you have in mind, that's good for me too, right? Meaning the guy doesn't have his own track. He's not doing his own independent act. So it's considered a proper bris milah. It's considered a Yiddish bris milah, and would be kosher if you're not requiring a Yiddish moil, as per the Shita of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. All the best to you, and Hatzlacha.